Welcome back, everyone. In our last episode, we talked about gastrulation, which involved forming the three primary germ layers: the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. The next developmental process that occurs is called neurulation. This is probably the most technical and complicated process in development that we will discuss. I recommend looking at pictures and diagrams of neurulation throughout this podcast to deepen your understanding of the topic. Neurulation involves the development of the nervous system from the ectoderm. However, like we discussed in the last episode, the ectoderm is the outer layer of the embryo. So how does it make its way inside the embryo to become the central nervous system? Well, that is what we will discuss in this episode. The first step involves a structure called the notochord. In the last episode, we discussed that the notochord is a structure derived from the mesoderm. So, the first step in neurulation is formation of the notochord. It is a rod-like structure that forms along the long axis of the embryo. Once the notochord forms, it begins influencing the ectodermal cells that lie above it. Specifically, the notochord induces the ectoderm to fold. The ectoderm cells begin to fold to form two neural folds, which are located on either side of a neural groove. Next, the neural folds fold even more and grow even more until they meet each other in the middle. This forms a hollow neural tube. A bunch of ectodermal cells migrate to cover up the neural tube. That is how the ectoderm on the outside becomes the nervous system on the inside. The neural tube eventually becomes a central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord. So, we know that the neural tube forms the central nervous system, but what about the peripheral nervous system? Remember the neural folds we talked about? Well, at the tip of each neural fold, there is a collection of another cell type, and this cell type is neural crest cells. Neural crest cells are going to migrate throughout the embryo to become the peripheral nervous system, which includes the nerves. That is all for the content about neurulation for the MCAT. Again, I definitely recommend looking at some diagrams of this process since it's pretty complicated and technical. In the next episode, we will discuss stem cells, but before that, let's do some practice questions to deepen our understanding on neurulation. First question, from which primary germ layer is the notochord derived? The notochord is derived from the mesoderm, which is the middle primary germ layer. Question number 2. What cells become the peripheral nervous system? It is the neural crest cells that become the peripheral nervous system. Remember that the neural crest cells are a type of cell that are located at the tip of each neural fold. They migrate throughout the embryo and become the peripheral nervous system later on in development. That's it for this episode on neurulation, and in the next episode we will discuss stem cells, which is a really important and high yield topic for the MCAT.